Hello, hello, and welcome to Tuesday evening on Tutorial Tuesday. This is Amy from Seriously Sweet and Cookie Snack Attack. If you have not signed up for our live text alerts, please text the word LIVESTREAM to 540-870-0726, and we will get alerts out to you before we go live. Sometimes we can include a link, sometimes the link doesn't work. I believe tonight it worked. So hopefully everyone is with us as we go live tonight. I apologize for being a little bit late. Some of you know my mother is in poor health, and I received a phone call right before we were supposed to go live, and I needed to take that call. So thank you for your grace and extension on time. All right, we're going to jump right into this tonight because I have some things to take care of as soon as we get off. But tonight we're going to make a really cool chicken and/or rooster cookie, however you want to look at it. Let's go ahead and get up here and say hello to a few people, and then we'll jump right in, okay? Hello, Miss Deborah. Hey, Jennifer. And Jen, if you'll just check and make sure it went live in Cookie Snack Attack, I would appreciate it. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Hi, Debbie. Hey, Becky. How are you doing? Greeting everybody over here. I love it that you guys use the chat field to communicate. I really believe relationship building is important within your core group, whoever that is for you. And Miss Kathy, hello. Hi, Teresa. Hey, Janie, how are you? Hi, Elizabeth. Look, there's so many of you tonight. It's so nice. Charlotte, you made it. Excited. Deborah, thank you, because we definitely need them. Let's see. Janie, yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I am sorry I'm late. I do take all of my responsibilities business-wise and in this group seriously. So anyway, that just happened to come 5 minutes before and took a little longer than expected, but hopefully things are turning around, so we'll see. We're just gonna pray and see what the Lord does for us. But let's jump right into our cookie tonight. We are going to do this cute little cookie cutter that Jen, if you have the link still from the last week, the chicken that we did, it's that same company, Manny's, and I believe they're a Canadian company. Hey, Camille, how are you? Let me say hi real quick. So we're going to do this cute cookie tonight. And earlier this morning, we learned how to make wafer paper feathers. And, you know, I like to have a little candy on the cookie, and I also love to have a little bit of shimmer. So I just thought I would show you. Remember a while back, the Bake-El company had that great sale. This is one of the things I ordered from them, thinking ahead to using it for Halloween. This is called Black Shimmer, and it's Tinker Dust. It's so pretty. And you know what it actually looks like is ground up hematite. Have you guys ever seen hematite jewelry? It's a really beautiful blackish gray, sparkly. Woo! All right, can you see that? It's pretty, right? Look at how beautiful that is. So if you don't have this, get you some of this from Bake-El before we start our fall days and Fright Night. And I think, yes, it was Manny Sweets. And they have a whole batch of chickens. But tonight we're going to do this chicken, which is actually, you're looking at its booty, and then its face is turned around looking at you. It's actually a pretty cute design, but I decided since we were going to be seeing chicken booty or rooster booty, whatever he's going to be, that we would do some fancy feathers for ours instead of doing the flat regular royal icing, like one dimension. Okay, so this is Black Shimmer by Bake-El. There's also a beautiful diamond dust that's very similar to this if you want to grab some, but I would pick some of this up before Fall Days Fright Night starts on excuse me. Ooh, I am having a hard time tonight, guys. All right, so grab some before we start that. Jen, if you think about it, please drop a link in where they can pick up their cutters, because there's still time to get cutters for Tutorial Tuesday for the series on Fall Days and Fright Nights. So my feathers, you guys, very detailed description of how to do them this in the video this morning. The dimension we were able to get on the wafer paper, the curl, all of that. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. this is what the dust looks like. Very loose, fluffy brush that won't break your petals. And then go ahead and put them on a paper towel, you know, a little dip into the jar, and then just a quick brush on your feathers, and look at the beautiful feathers we're going to have. And remember, well, if you weren't with us this morning, I told you that we were going to do a black and white and red theme tonight. And I had a cute rooster picture. But somehow, as soon as we ended our video this morning, somebody in another country laid claim to my video and said that 54 seconds of it was identical to their video, which I find hilarious because it was me making my own wafer paper feathers. And I didn't show anything else except a photograph. So not really sure what's going on there, but if any of you saw those messages, I have disputed all of that. So hopefully the video will stay up. If it doesn't stay up, I'll make you some more feathers. Okay, don't worry. I'll show you how to do these again because these are fantastic for Mardi Gras. They're really good anytime you want to do a bird. So in the springtime, they come in handy. They are great. Like you could have done these instead of the molded pieces that we did for Tiki Hot, for the Tiki Hot series. And it's not too late to get cutters. Dots and Bows is doing them. So Jen's going to drop in some links either for the STL or to buy the set of cutters. There's 4 cutters and they're dual purpose. We're using them for we're going to do 4 cookies in a fall theme, 4 cookies in the Fright Night theme. Is my camera crooked, you guys? Let me fix this. Maybe that's why I'm not in frame. Maybe that's what happened this morning and I just got distracted and didn't notice it. I hope I didn't make you seasick just there. Okay, right? Make sure you do use your discount. There's a code to get 10% off the cutters, or you can order them Friday where I think it's buy 3, get 1 free, I think, on Friday. So if you want to order them separately, you'll get the 4th one free. There's a class discount, SS for Seriously Sweet, and then class 10. If you're a crew member, there's a different discount. You should just email them before you do your order, and they will help you out with that. Do I have everything out? Okay, let me turn the dehydrator off so we don't have that running. And how about we do a little bit of sketching? So I'm going to do the cookie this direction. And this is a cookie that was in the oven a smidge too long because I wanted it to be really hard for doing this demo on it because I'm going to keep this one. So I did 3 of them today and we're going to sketch one now. And I have, because there's so many layers that had to crust over, I have prepped a little bit ahead of time. But let's walk through how to sketch this cookie really quickly. So in this cutter, we've got the three little areas up here. I'm gonna pipe these. I'm gonna pipe these in red. I believe my friend Heather said the top part is called a comb. So I'm gonna pipe these in red right here. These 2 bits right here where this cutter curves out a little bit, that's for the eyeballs, and it's those big exaggerated like cartoon looking eyes like we did last week. So we're going to sketch in 2 big oversized eyeballs. I'm going to be using black dragées for the little, the center of the eyes. And in last week's video, I show you how to visually find the center, then mark your eyeballs. Okay, and then we want our little rooster to look like, you know what? It's this one, Jen, from their site. I don't remember what the name of it is, but you see how you're looking at the back and the chicken head is turned back to look at you? So that's the cutter it is. We're going to do 2 big fat puffy cheeks so it looks like he's just full of chicken food, okay? So let's sketch where we want our 2 big fat cheeks. We've got our eyeballs. We know we're going to do this red comb on the top of his head. We know that we want to have that cute wobbler, I think it's what it's called, area. Right, so let's sketch an area for that, for where the red, this is going to be the red, okay? This is going to be red, this is going to be red. These bits are going to be red. Okay, but then right in here, we're going to do his beak. So his beak is going to set on top. It's going to come up to the eyes. So you're drawing like an elongated diamond, right? Right there. That's going to be where we're going to put the orange, and the orange is going to go on last. And so we did not want all of the colors to sink into each other. I've done some of them ahead of time. And then, of course, down here, we're going to do those cute gold toes like we did last week, because that was just cute, and put a little more shimmer on our cookie. So we're just going to do these 3 little areas down here in orange, and then hit them with some gold from Sugar Art, the diamond dust. You could do TMP or something like that. Also make sure, if you decide not to pipe your eyeballs, that you don't use Wilton dragées for the eyeballs, because they bleed. It doesn't matter what color icing you put in. When you come back the next day, the coating off that candy is going to come off a little bit. It's the possibility they may have fixed it, but when I first used them, I ruined an entire order. So look for PME, Paul, Mary, Edward. Okay, so let's move on. So you see roughly his face, you see his feet. This is all going to be, oh, and then we need to sketch his neck real quick. So we'll pipe his neck too. His neck's going to come right down through here, right? And then that's all we really need to sketch, because all the rest of this is going to be feathers, like coming back at you, like you're seeing chicken booty, okay? So that is part 1. Here is one sketched, just so you can see it, with where the feathers are going to shoot off to. All our feathers are going to radiate off this area. So I've worked on this part, and I've done chicken toes on the one that I'm going to bring in, due to being able to work ahead and using a dehydrator. And we're going to talk about steps. So if you need a pen and paper, grab a pen and paper, or somebody type this in the comments to help everybody, because I won't be able to come back tonight and do that, okay? So let's talk about that. Let's put our uniced cookie next to the pieces that I have done so far. So when I started piping earlier so that we could finish the whole chicken tonight, I piped this eyeball and dropped the dragée in while it was wet. And this is a PME, probably like a 7 millimeter. And so I piped this circle and this circle at the same time. And this piece of his neck, that can all be done at one time, because none of those pieces are touching. Popped it in the dehydrator for 10 minutes, let it crust over, pulled it back out. At that time, I did this eyeball, right eyeball, left cheek, still not touching anything that I had already done. I did those 2 things. And during that second run, I did these outside chicken toes on that run. And then I popped it back in the dehydrator, of course, adding the dragée while it was wet. Then when I pulled it back out, I did left and right of the wobbler under his chin. And then I did the middle of the 2 sets of toes. So let me just lift it up. It is important that you take the time to do that, because look how much dimension and detail I was able to get from doing that, okay? Now, I did not pipe the top yet, because I think initially I was going to try to do it with small feathers. So what we're going to do is do the body with the feathers. And then if I have enough feathers left, we're going to do feathers up top. If we don't have enough feathers left that I like, then we're going to come back and pipe this in red, okay? All right, so let's get to that. The first thing we need to do, though, is go ahead and put his beak on now that it's come out of the dehydrator again. We're going to do the beak, which is going to be sitting up on top, so it gives it a little more dimension. It's going to get a little noisy because I just heard my husband's truck come in the driveway, so when he comes in, the girls are going to go crazy. There we go. So they've all said hello. It'll get a little quiet again. Let's pull this up. I'm just using a needlepoint scribe because it's such a fine tip when you've got to work your icing into these little areas. This just makes a beautiful tip on the icing. And I'm just going to work right on screen in front of you guys. Right, I want to pull this over a little. Of course, all of this is just, excuse me, it's slightly less than toothpaste consistency to grab all of this. Now, also, I don't want to leave this. Let's talk about color bleed for a minute. My royal icing, when I make it, there's always white in the base. That is one way to help with color leaching and color bleeding, colors going back and forth. These are crusted over but not fully dry, so they're not much ahead of the beak. So we should not have any issue with this because all of the icing had a nice base white. And then on top of that, they're relatively the same along in drying, in the drying process, okay? I think I'm going to pull his beak over a little bit more, though, before it starts to crust. Also, you'll notice if you're participating in the mermaid class, and by the way, you can still buy the virtual class. Currently, there's no more kits available. That class is occurring this Sunday. It'll be for sale through midnight Saturday night at the early bird price of $25. At midnight, it goes off for sale because I don't want to be dealing with any technology issues on Sunday, because right now it looks like we're going to be able to have that as a Zoom class. His face is so cute. So since that's the situation, I don't want to be dealing with new tech on Sunday afternoon. Our class is going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday afternoon this weekend. I expect it to take approximately 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours, because we're doing 6 designs. There's all the information. I know, Elizabeth, you're in Canada. I'm just shipping in the U.S., so I've seen the comment. I understand. I can't ship to you this time, though. I'm sorry. And if you already cookie, you probably have a lot of the items that we're doing. So maybe if you want to do it later, you can once you take a look at the cookies. The price will go up on the class to $35 when it goes back up for sale on Sunday. And then at that point, everything will be pre-recorded. So we're doing his beak. Because it's roughly the same amount of drying time, it should not go back and forth, because it's still, if I were to crust these open, it's still extremely wet in the cheeks. So if they're drying, kind of drying down at the same time, then it doesn't tend to, like a really dry part doesn't pull the moisture from a really wet part. It should just crust over, especially when you're doing it this close together. So I think what we're going to do, guys, just not to risk it, and I don't want to hold you up later, is I'm going to go ahead and just pipe these red areas, the 2 outside ones. I'm going to go ahead and pipe those. These 2 outer ones. That way, by the time we place feathers, we're going to be able to put that 3rd one in the middle, so it'll have a little texture to it. You absolutely don't need the kit to participate in the class. If you already cookie, you probably have most of the items. When you enter the group, there's a cookie recipe, there's an icing recipe, there's a video for both of them, and it's basic cookie cutters you can substitute, so the techniques will work on anything. All right, you can do them on any plaque cutters, any shapes you want. Oh, I think I like that little division there, so we'll see if we can hang on to that. Nadine, are you asking me where I am right now or someone else? I'm not sure who that's for. I'm in Virginia. Hey, Jen, you're saying, guess what? What? Tell me what? Tell me something good and happy. Okay. Hey, L'Oreal, how are you doing, my friend? I haven't seen you in a while. So now what we're going to do, guys, we have done those in layered steps. We're not finished. We'll be adding this piece to the comb at the top of his head in a little bit. But for right now, what we want to concentrate on is just doing a basic back layer behind the feathers. So we're going to do that in white. And I'm going to tap using my, well, but what did I do with that little brush I had in my hand? Okay, so just a very loose, puffy brush. I'm going to use this. And just tap, pick some up from my black shimmer from Bakel and tap this on the white, and then I'm going to attach the feathers, okay? All right, so let's get this done. Now you could, if you don't want a lot of icing on the cookie, you absolutely could come in here and you could just brush a little icing on for what you're about to do, but I want to add the sparkle to the cookie so that if I want to use this, convert it to a cake topper, I have all the steps to do that so that it would look good from any angle, because you'd need to bake a cake pop, a cookie pop in here, a lollipop stick, something to convert this. So what I'm going to do is just come along this outside edge, and this is a toothpaste consistency icing, so about 25 to 30 seconds. Now listen, guys, if things go south for me next week, And by going south, I mean me having to go south. If that happens, I'll still stream with you. It may just not be a full cookie tutorial. But either way, I'll definitely let you know what's going on. And for sure, I'll be here Sunday, finishing up a couple of big orders this week and trying to get my schedule clear. And doing what we can do from here. All right, so I have, you see how we just have created a nice white background? All right, but we do want his neck to look defined, so it's important to do that ahead of time. Now what I'm going to do is just use some, L'Oreal, you've been in school and being a traveling medication tech. That's so cool, girl. Good for you. So proud of you. All right, let's take a few of these and let's fill in this area over here. And we just want to attach it. We don't want to push it all the way into the icing because we want it to have relief, right? It needs to be the back of the chicken or the rooster, whatever. So we want it to be curling up off the cookie towards us. So I've made some very, very small feathers. And we're just going to tuck a couple of those there. We don't need much, but we need that to be underneath the other feathers. Same thing on the other side. We want to use a couple of these little small ones to be behind our great big feathers. So I've kind of adjusted my feathers based on the size of my cookie. Okay. And I'm just going to tuck a few in here. I want them to be over the open areas because I made these big, beautiful, puffy feathers. And I'm just tucking it down into the wet icing and then kind of making sure they're coming to the front. So I'm going to have to do this quick, right? So the icing won't crack. But do you see what I'm talking about the curling? My icing's still soft enough and hasn't crusted that it's setting up good there. So I'm starting with my biggest feather and starting about halfway down my bird, dropping it in. I'm going to find my little spot, and then I'm going to try to keep some of that from attaching itself. And I'm going to be adjusting these feathers as I go. They're wafer paper, so you're not going to get that many chances to adjust this. And we want to start layering these cool feathers. So try to look at your cookie so that your feather, even if you use it for a cake topper. Oh, you know what, guys? We got to do something real quick on this top part before I forget. We're going to take this and we want to grab, let me do it in frame here so you guys can see it. We're just going to grab the littlest bit on our brush, hold it up over this white and up in this top part, just along the edge, so that it blends in with what we're doing with our airbrush that we did earlier today. We just want to blend in a little bit. It kind of knocks that glaze off or the shine off the white. All right, so let's set this little guy down, pull him over a little. Now let's go ahead and continue with the quick placement of our feathers. Make sure you watch that video from this morning. That's going to help you so much with getting these nice curled feathers. You're going to love it. See, I'm going to tuck another one in right here. All right, can you guys see that? We got this little guy. Let's tuck a little thin one. And I'm checking front and back to make sure I'm tucking in the right side, right? Tuck this in a little bit. I'm going to push that all the way to the bottom. Now at this point, guys, I've made a couple of these. I found what worked the best at this point was to add a little icing right on top, okay? So that I have a fresh area to work in to add the last of the feathers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm working down the bird here. I'm just going to put a few in there. All right, and I see that on the side, the area that's going to show, the reason you don't want to dust the whole cookie is because it's going to make it harder to attach your feathers. Then you will have to do every one of them individually. I love the shimmer that's on these cool feathers though, and the feathers really did turn out nice. I was very happy with my feathers. I like doing wafer paper feathers, but sometimes they frustrate people, so please just take your time. Make it your friend, because it's something you could use quite often for a nice feature top for cakes if you wanted to. Let's get another little feather in. Probably right here would be good. Get this area, right? Because this one is standing up. Now that extra icing is allowing me to push in at the bottom of the feather so it pops the feather off the cookie. All right, so let's get this little guy down here. All right, I'll show you how we're going to clean this icing up at the bottom of the cookie in a minute, but for right now we need it. So let's keep tucking this in. All right, so now I have all of my cool feathers in place. So no, this is not a cookie that you would normally make. Well, first of all, you can't bag it, but it's not a cookie you would normally make for someone to consume, although it's totally edible. But how cute is our little guy, right? Now let's just do a little finish work along the edge on this side. Can you see that? Just putting a little bit, it almost looks like salt and pepper, but those really pretty black and white chickens, they look spotted like that. The feathers aren't like fully black. When on the black chickens, usually they're a variation or variegation, like variegation lyrope, right? So it's a little bit different here and there. All right, so let's do this. Now what I want to do, I don't have my tiny boo-boo stick with me, which is what I like to use here. So I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm going to start at the feet. And what I'm going to do is try to pull this icing back so that I can lift it off. Okay. Pull this. Whoop. I don't want to get it on my feet because I've already got diamond dust on my feet. But I want to take those big clumps off. All right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my brush that I've been using so I don't dirty another one. And I'm going to rough this up. There's just a little bit too much on there to do it with what I had, and we want the little speckles. So we're going to get some speckles down in this area, and look, it pulls it right off the brush, and because it's already crusted just a little bit, you're going to get this really cool texture at the bottom that looks like that undercoat on a chicken. All right, guys. So that is our project for tonight. I'm going to lift this up so you can see what I just did. Can you see that? You see what I just did by using that already speckled with the tinker dust, the black shimmer tinker dust, and because the icing's crusted, when I start to bust it up, I get that cool texture. So isn't he beautiful? All right, we have one thing left to do. We almost forgot, and I did not save enough feathers to do the top, so I'm glad I went ahead and started this. I suspected I'd be using them all, so he'd be really full. And just a little bounce with my bag. Little bounce with the bag. All right, guys, and if you're in the mermaid class, there's a basic supply list. There's a level up supply list. So you can piece all your things together before the weekend, or if you want to do the class later with all recordings, you can do that as well. Just keep in mind the price is going to go up when it gets relisted on Monday, and at that point everything will be recorded. You'll still be in the same group as all of us that are doing it together on Sunday. You just won't have access to a live class. But isn't he cute? So that's our little chicken booty, and then he's turned back looking at you, or she's turned back looking at you. But you know what? I think because I put the middle section there. Make sure you guys leave enough. I can't move it because it's crusted, but make sure you leave enough room right there that your top part doesn't get so close to the eyeball that the chicken looks mad. All right, so there is our cookie for the second part of Tutorial Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I'll post a picture of him tomorrow, but look at how cool he would be as a cake topper. So much fun, and look at how much fun you're going to have making feathers for things you can use them for next year. All right, love these cutters. They're really cute. I'm not sure exactly what we'll be doing next week. Again, if things head south for me, then I'll be doing something with you, but I don't know what it'll be. Obviously, it'll be cookie related, but I don't know if it will be 2 full tutorials, okay? All right, thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night, and I will see all of you soon. Bye.